Good evening, believers. How are you doing today? This is Love Coach Dasha coming to you today for the Healing Hour Live. Now, if you've never been with me before, you don't know what it is I do here. I am a love coach specifically for women who want to heal and reconcile after infidelity. You have been cheated on, but this is still your person. You want to stay, you want to work it out, even though people are giving you a hard time about it, even though people are saying that you should not, somehow you still believe in this relationship. And did I ever tell you that that's why I call you believers? I call you believers. That Imagine Dragon song struck it in me. Um, it said, first things first, I'm going to say all the words inside my head, which is what we do after we have been through the trauma of infidelity, right? We got to say all the words inside our head. But then, second, it's a little bit more defiant. So don't tell me who you think that I can be. You all are experimenting with who you can be, even though other people are telling you that it's wrong, that you should not do it. You are saying, no, 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 I'm the master of myself. I'm the one who is in charge here. And I love that. I love helping women like that. I'm a woman like that. All right. I went through the exact same thing. That's why I do this. I came through to the other side after infidelity. My husband and I healed, we reconciled. Now, when we have couple arguments, they're couple arguments. They don't have anything to do with the cheating. They have to do with regular, everyday couple stuff that happens and not that devastating trauma because we surpassed it. We have gotten past that chapter in our story to another whole chapter. We've done many chapters since then, but it's 18 years after the last incidents of infidelity with us, and it's good over here. Okay, I want to speak to you from the future. I am telling you, it is possible to get to this place where you are feeling good, where you are feeling trusting, where you don't think about the infidelity all the time. You're not constantly thinking about checking his phone, being obsessed over what he has done. There is an after. I want you to know that, and I want to help you get there. And that's what we do here on the Healing Hour Live. So come on in, join me, join me. Now, if you're going to understand trauma, if you're going to understand betrayal, you got to understand the fact that it's trauma. This trauma has happened to you, and it has changed the way your brain and your body are functioning. Your brain is inside your body, it's part of your body, okay? So this is a physical response that you are having to something painful happening to you. I want to tell you some things that you can start to do right this minute, all on your own, without waiting for him to help you, without asking for anything, things that you can do to start to calm this trauma from the inside out and get yourself back in control of your body after this trauma has happened to you, okay? So, first thing that we're always going to talk about every time we get together is I need you to do your deep breathing. Have you been doing your deep breathing? If you have not been doing that, you need to start right now. Do it with me and then proceed to do it each day, okay? When you're doing this on a consistent basis, you are showing your body and your brain that you are safe. Your brain is trying to protect you. So if you give it evidence that you are safe through your breath, then your brain will have to believe you, okay? So we're going to do our deep breathing together. We're going to do 4-7-8 breathing. Now you can do whatever type of breathing you please. I don't care what kind you do, as long as you're doing it, okay? 5 times in a row, 5 times a day, okay? Less than a minute of self-care for yourself to train your body, to train your brain that you are not in danger right now. The things that you're remembering, those things happened in the past. That is not right now. You are not currently in danger. When you can get to that place, that's the space where the healing can occur. If you're constantly feeling like you're in danger, you're in survival mode. You can't heal from there. You've got to understand, okay, I'm actually safe. And then your brain can start working. You can start to have some real clear thoughts. You can you can choose what you do next. When you are in that survival mode, you're not choosing, you're just reacting. Your body just does what it does. So it does deep breathing. It does not do that. It does shallow breathing. It will stop you from breathing fully and deeply in and fully exhaling carbon dioxide. So when you're doing that, your body thinks that something is wrong. You are and never blowing out. And so your body is confused and it's like, oh, you must be about to run. You must be about to fight. Something must be terribly, terribly dangerous right here. So if you can just take back control over your breathing, your body and your brain will have to believe that you're actually safe. Okay. So we do 4-7-8 breathing. What it is we're going to blow out, totally deflate your lungs as much as you possibly can. Then you're going to inhale for a count of 4, hold that breath for a count of 7, and then you're going to blow out like you're blowing out an entire cake full of birthday candles for a count of 8. Now, when you do this, I want you to make the noise when you're blowing. Make that noise, purse your lips, make the noise of a stream of air going through your lips, because you are going to be teaching your brain, you're going to be triggering it and saying, hey, this means I'm safe. This means I have scanned the horizon. There is nothing out here that is going to eat me. I am okay. And then that sound will trigger off in your brain to start to tell your body to feel safe. Okay? Very, very good shortcut to take. If you start just exhaling, every time you start to feel a little tense, a little anxious, thoughts start to come, start to blow out, you will teach your brain, hey, I'm recognizing these are just thoughts, but they're troubling to me. I'm not actually in any danger right now. Let me be able to think a little bit more clearly about these things. And your brain will understand that that's what you're trying to do, and it will slow those thoughts down, calm you down. Okay? So we're going to do 4-7-8 breathing together. Why don't you join me? Come on in. Do your breathing with me. We're going to do it 3 times just for the sake of time on the live. All right? First things first, we're going to blow out. Empty your lungs. Breathe in through your nose. 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Blow out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Blow out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last time. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Blow out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Beautiful. How do you feel when you're doing your deep breathing? Put it in the comments. Let me know if you have been doing your deep breathing, or you just did it with me for the first time, or if you're catching this on the replay, #replay. Go ahead and let me know in the comments how it feels to do your deep breathing. We are going for a change in the body. The body is what is being affected by this trauma. So if we can do something about the way the body feels, our minds will follow. Okay? All right, let me see. I can see everybody. I am also, just so you know, I'm live on the Love After Cheating group in Facebook. If you have not joined the Love After Cheating group, come on in. That's where I am most of the time. I am on Love Coach Dasha on Facebook, and I am also in my Love Coach Dasha YouTube. So come on, like, follow, subscribe, do all the things so that you can hear from me again about healing and reconciling after infidelity. Okay? All right. Next thing that we're always going to talk about every time we get together, I'm always going to remind you of, I need you to be doing your journaling. Have you been doing your journaling lately? I need you to jump on that. I know you haven't been keeping up with it now, have you? I know it's very difficult. Some days that I get a little distracted, it'll be like a whole week goes by and I haven't done my journaling, but I keep my journal with me and I do enjoy writing in it. So I try and write it on a regular basis. When we are journaling, what we're doing is taking some of those thoughts that are going around in our heads that have been produced by this trauma, by this fear that we are feeling, and we are taking them out of our head and putting them down onto paper. When you do that, there's something about that action of taking a pen and putting it onto paper that tells your brain, oh, this is permanent. This is the book. She's got the book right in front of her. She is writing in the special book. That means that it's there and it's there forever. We can always come back to it. We can always remind her, hey, you need to go back and look in the book because we talked about this already. It will allow your brain to let go of some of those thoughts. When you put them down, most of the time, first thing in the morning, right before you really get up and get going, about 5 minutes, that's all. And then about 5 minutes right before you get ready to go to bed. You're giving yourself a little reset. First thing in the morning, there's a little bit of time where you totally forget that it happened in there. That's the way grief works. There is a little bit of time after you first wake up and you're feeling good and everything's all right. And then the infidelity comes back to the front of your mind, right? And then the thoughts come right behind that. So those thoughts, those first things that bubble up to the surface, that's what you journal. Put those things down. Those are the things that your brain has just been waiting to talk to you about. As soon as you started thinking about this again, that's the stuff it wanted to tell you. If you write that down, a lot of the time your brain will be like, oh, okay, she's got it. And it will stop repeating the same message over and over again. Right before you get ready to go to bed, if you've been having trouble sleeping after this, if your rest has just been totally disturbed by this, you haven't been able to get a good night's sleep because you're having nightmares, write about 5 minutes before you go to bed. Write out all the thoughts that are bothering you, the things that just did not get solved today, the things that are troubling you for about 5 minutes, and then tell your brain, okay, this is enough. Work on this tonight. Unconscious, hey, look, you're going to be dreaming. You're going to be doing your thing. I'm going to be asleep. Okay, I need to rest, but unconscious, you work on this and you tell me about it in the morning. And then when you're journaling in the morning, it may have come up with some answers or some deeper thoughts about what you wrote the night before. When you're doing your journaling, I need you to do your date, your time, and your level of anxiety each time you journal. Level of anxiety is going to go before you start to write and then after you've written. I want you to have a comparison of how you felt beforehand and how you feel after. All right. You're doing the date and time so that you can track the triggers. You can track the things that are happening at specific times. If something tends to be a morning thing, if something tends to be an evening thing, you will know that that trigger is coming because you will know what time of day it is. All right. Then your level of anxiety, so we have a fence around these feelings. These feelings cannot get bigger than a 10. 0 to 10. 0 is absolutely fine. Everything is lovely. All is right with the world. You're not feeling any anxiety. You're feeling safe. Things are okay. Okay. You need to write that down. Put that in the top corner of the page that you're writing on just to remind yourself, hey, this was a 0 day. Your brain will try and tell you when you've been traumatized that everything is negative, everything is bad, you will never have a good day ever again. So if you are writing down the days where you're feeling 0, with 0 anxiety, it's not a monster right now, it's not trying to eat you, you will need to remember that when your brain is like, no, everything is awful. You'll need those days to stand out. So you can just flip through your journal, look at the top corner and be like, oh, okay, there's a 0, there's a 0, there's a 0. So my brain is lying when it is saying that I am miserable and life is always miserable. So then you will know that, and then you don't have to keep listening to that thought over and over again because you know it's a lie. All right. A 10 is an absolute loss of control. A 10 is a bad day. All right. 10 is I want to rip my hair out, tear my clothes off, run screaming down the street naked. It is a loss of control. I cannot get control over myself. I am throwing things. I am screaming. The police are being called on me. I am driving recklessly. I am doing things that could harm myself if I don't get in control of myself pretty fast. All right. You are not at a 10 if you are sitting at your desk with a pen in hand about to write in your journal. You don't have enough control over yourself to be able to do that at a 10. So if you are feeling really elevated, but you're able to sit down and open your journal and grab your pen, at least a 9. Okay, you can say that it's up there. You can say that's way up there, but it's not a 10 when you're sitting there using your journal. Okay, that gives you an idea of how big these feelings can get, because they are very much Godzilla big if you don't put a fence around them. If you don't determine the parameters of this pain, it will feel like it can get bigger than you. It can't get any bigger than you. This pain is contained within you. You're as big as this pain can get. You full out is a 10. All right. Anything less than that, you can handle, you can manage. All right. Anybody been journaling lately? Anything good in the journal? You're like, oh, that helped me so much by journaling that? Put it in the comments. I want to hear about your journaling experiences. All right. No questions, comments, thoughts, complaints. If you do have any, please put them in the comments. I want to answer your questions. I love to answer your questions. I have answers, okay? You are not alone. You are not going to be stressed out anymore. I've got the answer for you, okay? All right, let's see. Next thing that you're always going to want to talk with me about is I need you to develop an attitude of gratitude. I need you to every day choose to be grateful for things in your life. This trauma is an exercise in grief. This trauma of being betrayed by the person that you love, this infidelity sitting on you, it is a grief producing event. So you're going to feel grief. You're going to feel loss. All right. That is completely normal. But the antidote for grief is gratitude. Grief is loss, feeling the loss of what you did have before. Gratitude is feeling grateful for those things that you have right now. So it's changing your focus from what I have lost to what I have. That is a key thing that is going to help your brain after this trauma. Your brain is always going to think that everything is bad. It's always going to believe that everything is terrible and I'm only ever losing things. I never get anything that I want. If you turn your attention to things that you are grateful for, your brain cannot continue to do that. Your brain instead will try and hand you things to be grateful for throughout the day. So if you are practicing this first thing in the morning when you're doing your journaling, 5 things that you're grateful for. Middle of the day, you're feeling kind of down, 5 things that you're grateful for. End of the day, you're tired, you're worn out, you're feeling kind of funky inside, 5 things that you're grateful for. If you do this on a consistent basis, your brain will learn that that's what you are wanting it to do, and it will offer these things up to you. It'll be like, oh, look, this thing, isn't this a great thing? Aren't you grateful for this? And then you will be able to latch on to that. And then you can go to the next thing you're grateful for and the next thing after that, pulling you away from the grief, pulling you away from the stress and the anxiety and the fear that you have been feeling. Okay? It's just brain training. Our brains and our bodies are doing something automatic after this trauma. We just have to know what those things are and do the opposite to what it's trying to do. Right now, it is trying to feel bad. We are trying to feel good. So we got to do the opposite of what it's doing. Okay? Last thing that I'm always going to tell you in this first part that we're always going to be reminding you to do is I need you to stop asking him all those questions. I know that you want to. I know that you have every right to. I know that you're entitled to ask him all the questions you desire. I know that you're entitled to get the questions answered that you desire. I understand that, but I am still saying that it is not good for you. I am saying that that desire, that strong pull, that itch to ask him a question about what has happened, the person, the sex, the emotions, the thoughts, the feelings, the speech, You want to know these details, but that is a trauma reaction. That is your brain trying to collect data on a threat. It's saying this person, the person that you love, the person that you're trying so hard to reconcile with, is a threat. We can't continue to treat them like a threat and get close at the same time. It doesn't work. Those are two totally different things you're trying to do. So if you are constantly asking questions about the affair, what happened, how did he feel, what did he think, you are continuously seeing him through the lens of this is a threat. This person is a threat to me. If you stop that, you can start to see them as your honey again. You can start to see them as your beloved. You can start to see them as your lobster. Okay, if you can reverse what you are doing, it will tell your brain, I do not consider this person to be a threat. I don't need to ask them all those questions. I don't need to have all this clarification. I trust this person. And then your brain will start to interrupt that. It slows down. You stop asking the questions, and then your brain stops wanting to ask the questions so much. Okay. That all being said, I completely understand that it is an itch. It is inside your brain. It is almost physical that you want to ask the question. You want to ask. And your brain will try and disguise it as things like, oh, you're just trying to be close. Oh, you're just trying to connect with them. It will say that, but later on in tonight's lesson, you're going to find out why it's lying. Okay. It's saying you're going to connect like this, but it's not for that. It just wants you to get you started on the path of asking questions. If you have been resisting asking questions about the affair, and then you start asking questions that seem like they might be totally innocuous, your brain wants to veer off and start down the affair path. Okay. But if you've got to ask a question, ask a better question. All right. That's going to be one of the common themes you see with me throughout the years. Ask better questions, questions that don't destroy you, questions that aren't going to be ammunition later for you to consistently feel like they're a threat. Try these out. This is the NTHEAND from the good people at the Skin Deep. You can get these off of Amazon. It is about $30 and it is a whole box of questions. Okay. It's 199 questions that you can ask your mate. And this one is the healing edition. This one is about reconnecting and getting that connection back. So it is actually designed to do that instead of the questions that you wanted to ask. So you deal out about 2 to 3 of these. It should be a good half-hour conversation, 2-3 cards. At the very least, 2 or 3 of these can last a whole hour. If you got 3 and he got 3, yeah, you can stretch this conversation out a good little ways. But you will be able to ask questions that are about connection that might strike your heart a little bit differently. Not have you thinking about the affair, but have you thinking about the relationship. So one question that's in this deck says, what's the hardest thing about our relationship? Okay, we can talk about it. And now that doesn't have to be, it doesn't even have to be the affair. It doesn't even have to be the cheating. It could be something completely different to him. So what is the hardest thing for you about our relationship? That's what I said, for you. What's the hardest thing for you about our relationship? Might be something you never knew. Okay. The next one says, what do you think I need to hear from you? Look, aren't that better? Isn't that better questions than the questions that you want to ask? The questions that you want to ask have nothing to do with healing you. It has nothing to do with good things about you. You want to hear about the cheating. Why we gotta keep talking about that? You got plenty of answers about the cheating. You know the cheating happened. You don't really even need too much more information than that. You know this happened. You know that they did it. Let's ask better questions to actually establish a connection again. So what do you think I need to hear from you? Excellent question. And this is a good one. Why do you think I'm here? Wouldn't you like to know that? Wouldn't you like to know what he thinks about why you're here? What if he thinks something terrible about why you're there? What if he doesn't believe you actually love him at all? What if that's really what's going on in his head and you don't even know about it because you never asked? This is a better question than what positions did you all have sex in? All right. That's a better question than how often were you texting her? It's a much better question. So, why do you think I'm here? Okay. And I'm here to tell you all about trying to heal and reconcile after infidelity. If you are having trouble with that and you'd like my guide, How to Heal and Reconcile After Infidelity, go ahead and put path in the comments. I will get back to you with the link for my free guide, How to Heal and Reconcile After Infidelity. Okay. All right. So we're getting down to the message of the night. We are going to talk a little bit. I've been telling you a little bit about me finding out about the dreams formula, actually coming through the infidelity myself in these lives the last few weeks. And I want to talk to you a little bit more about your brain. Okay. Your brain thinks it's protecting you all the time. All of this suffering that you are going through, it is your brain trying to be overprotective, trying to keep you from harm. All right. Have you ever wondered why you keep checking his phone, even though it doesn't make you feel any better? It does not, it doesn't help. When I used to do it, I would sit there and my heart is racing the entire time. Okay, even before that, because the idea to look in the phone has come before I've actually gotten my hands on the phone. So before I even get my hands on the phone, my heart's racing. My breath is coming a little short. My head is feeling squeezed. I gotta look. I need to check. I need to see what he's been saying. I need to check his messages. I need to see if there's anything in his email. I need to make sure that his Facebook is clear before I even get the phone in my hands. All right. Heart pounding out of my chest. Then I got it. Then I've actually got it in my hands, which isn't actually difficult because even when he was in the throes of cheating, he would leave his phone anywhere. So it's not like I would have a difficult time getting it. It's not like I had to sneak and get it, but I didn't want to get caught getting it either. All right. So it's making my heart pound too. That's making me feel real stressed. It's making me feel real anxious because I'm going through the phone now. I'm trying to quickly, as fast as I can, go through things, look around. Oh, this is something I've already seen before. Okay, so that means I need to look at things on this side of that. It's too much. Okay. I know it feels like it's helpful, but in the moment, is it really helpful? Does it make you feel better? I would posit to you that it does not make you feel better. It makes you feel crappy every time you do it, right? But just keep on doing it. You keep doing it, and it's like your brain is torturing you. What if I told you that your brain is not trying to torture you? It is actually trying to protect you. That's what it's doing. All of that stuff that is happening inside your body when you are thinking about going through the phone, it's all part of your brain being overprotective. Okay. So, betrayal is one of the most painful emotional experiences that we can have as people. That's why it's so prevalent in everything. It's in all the songs, it's in all the movies, it's in the TV shows, because it is one of the most devastating but most common things that human beings put each other through. So it's not out of the ordinary at all. So we are seeing it because it is reflected everywhere because other people have gone through it. And it is an intensely difficult and painful emotional experience. It's like you're shattered into a million pieces. Your brain, after years and years of evolution, interprets that much emotional pain as a life or death situation. Your brain, your amygdala, the worst case scenario portion of your brain, a little teeny part of your brain that says, well, what if this happens, and sends the signal for your adrenaline to pump, that part of your brain was used when we were cave people. And if you walked outside the cave, you get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. Okay, you had to be able to think ahead. Well, what if there's a saber tooth out here? I need to bring my club with me. I need to make sure that I got somebody with me. I need to be sure I'm looking around and being really hyper vigilant and listening out for this tiger because it could eat me. That was a life or death situation. That's what that part of your brain evolved for, to keep you safe from a life or death situation. Unfortunately, as we have evolved as people, that part of your brain is like, oh, everything that is super painful must be a life or death situation. It feels like I'm getting clawed. It feels like something is biting me. I think that that's a life or death situation. I'm going to treat it as such. So even things that are not life or death situations are interpreted that way by our bodies when we are being protected by our brains. It is not trying to make you miserable, although it feels miserable. It's trying to make you survive, even though you're not in a survival situation. All right. Any questions about that? Questions, comments, thoughts, complaints? Put them in the comments. Let me know. I'll try and make it clearer if it doesn't make sense to you. Okay. Don't say any questions. All right. So your brain thinks that pain is a life or death emergency, especially pain this deep, this profound, to where you feel like you are shattered on the floor. That feels like a life or death situation to your brain. Your brain is this is your protective brain, because it's not the whole thing. It's just the protective part of it. Your brain isn't broken. It's just working overtime to keep you safe. And even though you know you're safe, it doesn't know you're safe. Okay? So the behaviors that you do when your brain is trying to protect you, it wants you to go check the phone. Even though it makes you anxious, even though you don't feel good doing it, your body's like, but I got to, though. I got to check. I got to make sure that I'm safe. Asking those questions, asking the questions over and over and over again, asking it different ways, asking it different days to see what answer you get today versus the answer you got yesterday. That is a way your brain is trying to protect you. Checking his location, overthinking everything, rehearsing the conversations in your head. I'm a queen of that. All right. I will rehearse a conversation for hours. I have to realize in the moment, I'd be like, oh, wait a minute. I'm trying to fight. Okay, let me stop that. Let me back up a couple of steps. Stop rehearsing this argument that I'm finna have. And then imagining the worst case scenarios. That's what happens inside your brain when it's trying to protect you. This protective part of your brain wants to keep you safe from harm. So it makes you do all those things, even though they don't feel good. And your brain is like, we've seen this thing before. This thing led to pain. So let's make sure that this never happens again, which is actually incredibly reasonable. If this were a life or death situation, if your life was on the line, you need your brain to pick it up. You need your brain to be like, no, protect you. No, I've seen this pattern. This is a bad thing. This will end up with you hurt. No, we're not doing this. That works great in a life or death situation. You don't need to have all the thoughts and the considerations and thinking about things if you were in a life or death situation. However, this is not a life or death situation. Fear sounds reasonable because it's trying to keep you alive, but your relationship, that's not a life or death situation. It's not. And even though that pain makes it feel like that, it's really not. So we've got to get our brains to understand that. It's unfortunate because in that state, your brain thinks that safety and connection are opposites. They cannot be compatible. Your brain says if you are safe, then that means you're not connected to anybody. You are disconnected, you are isolated, you are safely tucked away. And on the other hand, if you are connected to somebody, then that means that you are not safe. You are at the mercy of this threat. And bad things could happen to you, and bad things have happened to you. So you cannot have connected and safe at the same time, according to your protective brain. Okay? Your protective brain believes that those two things are complete opposites, and protection wants you to be isolated, but love requires connection. You cannot be isolated and have love at the same time. That is part of what the love is that connection, is that meshing together, is that getting closer, is that letting down the walls. It's about closing that emotional distance between you and someone else. It's not staying all hyper vigilant and worried about, oh, they're going to hurt me, so I need to always be aware of the things that they're doing because they might hurt me. That is not connection. That is protection. And if you are safe, but you're without that connection, that becomes loneliness. You're safe, yes. Physically, this person cannot hurt you because they're not close enough to hurt you anymore. True, but now you're lonely. Now there is a space, there is grief to be had for missing that person. Now there is a space that you didn't really necessarily want that has been opened up because that person has been pushed further away from you. And now there's more space in between you and what you actually want. Even if your brain succeeds at protecting you, it's still failing to give you what you most desire. What you want is the love, the connection. What your protective brain wants is to keep you isolated, all by your lonesome, so that nobody can hurt you and you can stay alive. So, all that being said, what do I do about it? Let's start with that. I'll teach you my method of dealing with this. When my protective brain is screaming at me and it's like, oh, you're in danger. This is a pattern. You should be scared. Okay. This is what I do personally. Okay. Step one is going to be to notice the actual fearful thoughts. I call it fear speech because it comes from inside your head and it's other people's speech too. So it's your speech and their speech combined. So I call it fear speech. But your fearful thoughts, notice them, like rehearsing an argument. You can catch yourself, because I will catch myself, because I will get all into it and I'm starting to like talk out loud, even though this conversation is going on in my head. I start to say stuff out loud. I'm like, wait, who am I talking to? Oh, I'm just, okay, that's a scary thought. Okay, let me back up. All right. Now, once you recognize that you've had this fearful thought, okay, you've got to check your body. This is still a trauma response. And so trauma manifests in our bodies. The effects of trauma manifest inside our bodies before we even notice the thoughts most of the time. So if you're having the thoughts, automatically come to and check your body. Lots of things can happen when this happens. Head to toe, let's think. You can feel like there's tightness around your temples, around like a band around your head. You can feel like your vision narrows down to just what's in front of you. You can hear whooshing in your ears. You can have your jaw clenched. You can have your throat be so tight and dry that you can barely swallow. Your heart can be pounding out of your chest. Your lungs can feel like you can barely inflate them. Your stomach can be upset. You can feel nauseated. You can feel like you're about to go to the bathroom. You can have sweaty palms and sweaty bottoms of your feet. Your muscles will start to twitch because all of a sudden you've got this rush of adrenaline and your muscles are ready to do something. You're ready to run. You can even have the taste of metal in your mouth. That is the taste of adrenaline. That's what it tastes like. When you got that metallic taste in your mouth, you're like, what the hell is that? That's what fear tastes like. That is what adrenaline tastes like, so full in your bloodstream that you can actually taste it on your tongue. All right, check your body. If any of those things are happening, we need to pay attention to that part of the body and we need to exhale. We need to try and release that tension because it's wound up, right? It feels like it's tightening and twisting inside of you. So we need to focus on that part of the body and we need to blow out. Remember, I told you the sound of an exhale when you are doing the blowing of an exhale, that is a trigger to your brain that, hey, I have looked around and there is no saber-toothed tiger here to eat me. I am safe. That is a sound of acknowledging that I am safe, even though I feel like I'm not. Even though my body is telling me this isn't safe, you should be scared. I am telling my body, I have looked around, I have scanned the horizon, I am actually safe. There is nothing here to harm me. You're gonna exhale, and then you're gonna do your deep breathing. Okay? Full deep inhales, full thorough exhales. Hold in between. All right. Give yourself a chance. Once you inhale that breath, hold it so that you can actually use some of that oxygen and then blow out. You're focusing it on the part of yourself where you feel the anxiety. If it's your heart, you want to focus that inhale, slow, deep inhale into the heart, the pause, you feel the heart pumping, and then you blow out. You are letting go of the tension in that muscle, all right? Do every part of you, whatever it is that you're feeling, that's where you breathe in and breathe out, okay? And then once you've done that a couple of times, you've got a little bit of oxygen going to your brain because you have done full deep inhales and exhales. Now you can ask yourself a couple questions. Okay, what's actually happening right now? What just happened? What brought this feeling up? What was the thing that flashed in my brain as soon as I realized I was feeling like this? Where did that thought come from? That negative thought, it kept repeating over and over again. Where did that come from? Get curious about these feelings. Take your journal, write them down. Write down the answers, write down the questions that you're asking and the answers that you're getting as you are going through an inventory of your body. And then ask yourself, okay, I think something happened, but do I have evidence? What evidence do I have? Let me write it down. Would this hold up on the court TV shows? Would this hold up? And would the judge be like, well, no, that's just your opinion. That's not reality. That's not something that happened outside of you, and that you can't convict them on that. You know what I mean? Ask yourself what evidence it is. And then the big question is, am I reacting to right now? Or has my trauma made me time travel into the past and I am currently reliving something painful from the past? It happens all the time. You will not notice it unless you actually intend to notice it. Your brain will send you back in time and plop you down right in the center of, oh, I just found out that he was cheating, and all of the feelings and the overwhelm and the shattering that you felt. And then it's like, see, I told you things were dangerous, even though you are just reacting to a memory, not to what is actually happening. I hope that makes sense, because that's a big one. All right. You got to determine whether you are reacting to something that happened now, or if you are reliving the past and you are reacting to that. Okay. And then after you figured that out, if you're like, yes, I feel like maybe, I'm reliving the past. All right, let's say it's that. You've got to speak kindly to yourself. I call it talking to inner child Dasha, okay? I talk to her very nicely, okay? I am very, very, very thoughtful about the way that I talk to the little girl who is still inside me, who feels insecure, who gets scared, who reacts when a trauma surfaces and I just shrink back into a little kid again. I am very kind to her. So I get down to eye level with her, all right, inside my own head. And I'm like, yes, sweetheart, you are right. This hurt before. You see a pattern. That is a good job. You recognize the pattern. However, what happened then, that was real. But is that happening right now? Is it still going on right now, right here? Is this still the same thing that happened that hurt us? And most of the time, it's not. Most of the time, I'm reliving something from the past. And little kid Dasha can tell the difference between before and now. basics, I try not to give her too much detail to have to deal with, but before and right now are two concepts she can get. All right. And then I reassure her. I pat her on the back. So I don't argue with my scared brain. I reassure my scared brain. When my brain is just absolutely losing it, I pat it on the back. I hold it close. I tell it, look, we're actually safe. It's okay. As you can probably hear from my voice, I got a sinus infection. My throat's all dry. I'm having a hard time here. Okay. All right. So let's tie this back to the dreams formula. Okay. Let's go back. All of the letters of the dreams formula are going to help you get out of survival mode. Are you going to help you to start to pull your way out of the survival instinct things that you're doing. So the first thing is the D, the dreams formula. The D is for deciding. You've made a decision about what you want for your life. That is very grounding and very anchoring, where you were like, okay, I know I'm scared. But I have already determined that I am staying. I am working this out. So I don't even need to keep on trying to give myself a hard time about it. I am staying. I am working this out. And fear be damned, I am going to continue on with the decision that I have made. Okay. The R, recognizing the fear speech. A lot of that is just not letting the dread keep building. You've got to hear the thoughts that are going on inside your head, and then you respond to them. The things that I just told you to do, the steps that I told you to take, you've got to respond to the fear in a way that will help you to manage the fear. Evaluating the why. This helps because you come out of yourself a little bit when you start to have compassion for others. If somebody else is hurting and you're recognizing that pain in them, you can take a step out of yourself for a second and say, okay, yes, I'm in pain, I'm afraid, but apparently this person in front of me is in pain and they're afraid too. So let me try and empathize with that. Let me try and step out of my own discomfort and try and be with them in their discomfort. And a lot of the time that will help with that survival mode. It is putting aside self and focusing on somebody else. When you do that, that's the opposite of what you do when you're afraid. Fight or flight is all about your own survival. So if you take yourself out of that and insist on trying to look for compassion for the other person, a lot of the times that will kind of shock your system and make it stop worrying about, oh, I could be hurt. You're like, yes, I could be, but there's a lot of pain out here. And me sitting here worrying about it is not making it be any better. And I can reach out to this person that I love so much and have compassion for them. And maybe their pain eases and my pain eases. Right? Allowing yourself to heal is like allowing yourself to relax, moving closer, even as the fear is telling you to back away, to isolate, to be alone. You are choosing to gain ground. You are choosing to get closer to your person. Managing the future feelings. That's about, dealing with the triggers. You will know that you have a plan for the triggers. You will know from your journaling that you have triggers that you are already aware of, and you've got a plan for how you're going to handle them before they even hit you. So you can come out of that survival mode because you've already got a plan. You don't have to be frozen. You don't have to go into fight or flight. You have a self-care plan that will work, that is going to make you feel better even when you're triggered. And then seeking support, having someone to process this stuff with that is not your partner. Not going to them each and every time you're feeling this way. Because if you keep going to the person you consider a threat, if you're in survival mode, you're going to attack. If you go to them, if you close that distance and you want to discuss what they have done and how you're feeling about it, you're going to want to attack them. And then you go into this cycle of attack, and then trying to be close. And then attack, and then trying to be close. It makes you look a little crazy. So you got to find somebody other than your partner that you can kind of unload some of this stuff with. Now, I volunteer as tribute. If you are struggling and you would like to be able to talk about it with somebody, I am here for you. Okay? So your brain is not your enemy. This protective brain of yours is not an enemy. It is just a tool, and it needs you to be a wise leader in order to guide it in the right way. Your brain is trying to protect you from pain. Honey, I'm trying to help you get back to the love. That's what I want you to do. I want you to get back to the love. So tell me, what protective habit have you been doing the most lately? What have you noticed you've been doing? Have you been checking the phone a bunch? Have you been asking a whole bunch of questions? Have you been overthinking? Have you been doing something else that I haven't mentioned? Put it in the comments. I would love to hear from you about the things that you are doing that your body and your brain say are protecting you, but are not feeling very good to you. What have you been noticing? Put it in the comments. Okay. So all of this is exactly the type of thing we untangle together when you will join me for an after infidelity clarity call. If you get on a call with me, you'll realize that sometimes one conversation can help to see a whole difference between fear trying to protect you and your actual wisdom trying to guide you. At the end of a call with me, you'll have clarity about which one it is and which one you should follow. I believe that you are wise. I believe that it's in you. I believe that you are able to do the wise, compassionate, understanding, loving, vulnerable thing if you are just taught what to do. So I am happy to teach you. Go ahead and reach out, put call in the comments, or DM me call if you would like to get the link to get on my after infidelity clarity call. All right. So that is about it for today's lesson. Oh, we did lots of things today. We got one more thing to do, though. This is one more of the practices that I want you to start adopting. Now, we were talking about practices at the beginning, right? We did do your deep breathing, do your journaling, start your gratitude practice, and stop asking them all those questions, right? Those are all the practices. Those are the things that you can start to do right now that will start to change some of the effects of this trauma of infidelity on your body and your brain. One more to add on to it, make it even five, or make it an odd five, is to do your affirmations. Have you been doing affirmations? I need you to get on that. There is nothing in the world like doing a little affirmation work every day, okay? I want you to look yourself in the eye, in the mirror, in the camera, whatever it is that you have. And I want you to say your affirmations like you mean it. I want you to say it like it's the most true thing you've ever said in your life. I want you to say it like you believe it from all the way down to your toes, okay? And when you do this, you are giving your brain a record of you saying good things about yourself, because when you are traumatized after infidelity, your body and your brain will tell you that it's all your fault and you are awful and you are a terrible person, and that's why this happened to you. We cannot listen to that. That is not going to be effective in getting us to heal. It's just going to make us feel bad about ourselves and then bring us further down. Okay, so you've got to be doing your affirmations on a regular basis. Now, you can put affirmation in the comments, and I will send you affirmations that are specifically for people who are trying to heal and reconcile after infidelity. Go ahead and just put affirmation in the comments. But these are the ones that I work from. I got these from Five Below. All right, there's a lot of different types of affirmations, not just about healing after healing and reconciling. So today's affirmation says, today I live in the present. Today I will start with a smile. I am in control of my attitude. Oh, that's a good one. We were just talking about, is this happening in the present or am I reliving a past memory? All right. We've got to show up today in the present. You've got to remember to be here Now, if you can do just that, just grounding yourself in this moment, in this body, through your deep breathing, through grounding exercises, you are in this moment and you are not in the part that was dangerous and scary. And then your body can calm down. You can get out of survival mode. So, today I live in the present. Today I will start with a smile. I am in control of my attitude. And yes, you are. Yes, you are, love. You are in control. I know you're in control because you have already exhibited an extraordinary amount of control just deciding to stay and work things out. I think you should be proud of yourself. And if nobody has told you this week, I love you and I'm super proud of you. I think you are making the right decision for your own life. The second that ceases to be true, the second you decide that this is not the thing for you, I totally understand that. I will support you then too. But right now, in the midst of trying to heal when other people tell you that that is crazy, to get closer when people tell you to get further away, I think that is an incredibly brave thing to do. And I think that you need all the help that you can possibly get to do it. And I know that it's possible because I did it. I have been there. I have come to the other side through the fear, through the pain, to the other side where we are healed and we're okay. And we are excitedly planning the next section of our lives, this next chapter that's coming out. We have gotten to the point where we've got our last kid is going out of the house to college next month. Next month. So now we've got a whole different phase of life that we get to be in together because we have come through all the other chapters. And now this is a brand new chapter, brand new adventures to be had. All right. I want you to get there. I want you to understand that there are new adventures to be had. There is an after infidelity, and you can reach it. I'm happy to help you figure out how. Okay. All right. So, one more thing. Do your journaling, do your deep breathing, do your gratitude practice. Stop asking him all those questions and do your affirmations. But more than anything, I want you to not do what the fear and the pain would have you do. If you are doing what the fear and the pain are screaming inside your head, you are on the hurting path. I want you to get on the healing path. And that way, that path is through my guide, How to Heal and Reconcile After Infidelity, your guide to the dreams formula. You can put path in the comments and I will get right back to you with the link for that so you can find the path. But if you just do the opposite of what the pain and the fear tell you to do, you're going to be on the path anyway. All right. If you want the path in front of you, if you want a guidebook, I got it for you. But if you just do the opposite of everything that the fear and the pain are screaming inside of your head, you will be on the healing path. Okay. All righty, y'all. That's about it. Thank you so much for joining me for the Healing Hour Live. I'll be back again next Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But until then, I love you, and I'll see you then. Mwah. Bye.